Hey, my wonderful, wonderful people, a pleasant morning to you. You know, I realize these days, especially here in Jamaica, I'm noticing, I'm not saying it doesn't happen in anywhere else in the world, but I personally believe in cleaning my own house first before I be a domesticated helper in somebody else's house, if you understand what I'm saying. I find that people want to be the number one cusser, let us put it that way, and they're so enamored by being the number one, the champion, the best. I can trace you, the best. I can curse you, the best, because I'm just the best, because God just gave me all the IQ and EQ that I need to be able to use the words and run around rubbing around your brain, around your neck with it. And what has happened is that they have delved into what I call a sense of slander. And if you check the etymology, the real meaning of what the word slander means devilish. It is associated with being devilish, so it's slander is really speaking truth, but with evil intent, and some of it is gossip. So what they have done, they have breached what Jesus said. Do not harm. If you harm any of these children, it is better that you put a milestone, some may say millstone, around your neck and jump off into the sea. All right? When the disciples were easing them off, he said, suffer not the little children to come unto me, forbid them not. Because unless you are like these little ones, you will not make it into the kingdom. You see how children are just, if they see black, they just call it black. And you might say them rude and they're feisty or they're out of, no, they're not. They're really speaking with a sense of purity. They're not trying to embarrass you. They are not, they don't have that level of IQ and EQ to know how to coin the words so that it doesn't sound so bad. They call it as they see it. It is part of their development stage. So they call it as they see it, and that is what Christ loves. There is purity in their hearts. The words may sound very cutting, but they're not being rude. They're not being disrespectful. What the parent needs to do is that you guide your children so that as they get older, while they're increasing in knowledge and skill and talent and intelligence and intellect, that you teach them a better way to speak to people, that they honor what the commandment says. Part B of the first commandment, love your neighbor, treat your neighbor the very same way you would love and treat yourselves. And I find that people are disrespecting, disregarding, dishonoring that commandment. They are bringing children into their cuss and their cas. What you are saying is God put a curse on the life. Not on the life of the child, on your life. And I deliberately didn't speak it, when they talk about first person, seconds, I didn't say mine. I literally didn't want to say that word. I didn't want to personalize it, even though I would be given an example. I deliberately did not do that. So you are asking God to put a curse on your life. That's what you really are doing. It's a classless behavior. It speaks to a sense of never being educated, whether formally or informally. You are worse than when somebody says you're a dunce, you're a dull human being, you're below a simpleton. It is almost that you can be equated with Jezebel or perhaps Delilah. Maybe they have better characteristics than you do when you bring children in your cascas and your cuscus. You have no respect for man, beast. You're most importantly, you have no respect for God. When you disregard children, when they say cuss, I don't know what the exact terminology is here in Jamaica, but I'm going to put it to you for you to understand. It's like it basically said there is no boundary to when you're cursing. We go extremely low. And we don't care if we bring your children in. You have to be very careful of that. God doesn't play about his word. He says he rather heaven and earth to pass away than one of these words to go void. So it behooves you, not just me. It behooves you, the perpetrator, to desist from your verbal diarrhea and from verbally thrashing children, verbally abusing them, the vitriol that comes out of your mouth because you want to inflict pain, emotional and psychological pain, on the person that you're having the combative words with. You're like the lower form of mammals. You're extremely classless. Your entire soul, man, is bitter, not better. You're unintelligent. You're not intellectual. You need to go back to the basic school level to learn again, because you have not begun learning. So what you're saying to God is, you're asking God while saying to him, curse your life. That's exactly what you're doing. And trust me, you cannot handle his beating. No time, no day, no how. Desist immediately, no matter how angry you are. Because let me put an analogy to you. If you're working somewhere and your boss becomes verbally abusive and explodes on you in front of the staff members, more often than not, I never say always, more often than not, you're not going to retaliate. You employ self-control. If you're going to the embassy, the US Embassy right here in Kingston, Jamaica, you have to follow the rules of it. Sometimes many of you don't even want to talk to anybody because you're so fearful. You know why? You know that these people will hold you accountable if you breach any aspect of what they say you're not to breach, because you will be held accountable. So you're on your best behavior, even if the authorities are rude and disrespectful to you. So just that's how you're able in that adversity, in that adverse situation, to employ self-control. Do that when you're cursing people. I'm not encouraging you to curse people, but we can't stop that. Don't bring children. Don't begin to verbally thrash another child in your conversation. You will regret it. I'm not asking you, and this is not from me. I guarantee you God will hold you accountable. People don't like to hear this, but it is a reality. So to whom much is given, much is required. Some say much is expected. Don't curse other people's children. Don't even curse yours. Don't speak negatively about children. Do not speak negatively. And when you begin to describe them how God made them, don't do it. I guarantee you will have regrets. You will say, I should not have. If only I knew. Can I go back? And you're going to begin to beg God, please take away the consequences of my words, because I cannot handle it. It is too painful. It is excruciating. It is debilitating. And oftentimes, go and read Exodus 20 somewhere there, I think, when it was issuing out the commandments. It says, the sin of the parents who hate me. People may think, oh, it's a deep hatred, like they're, like they're hating on God. Not necessarily, but you're consistently rebellious against the word of God. So it must mean that you hate him. You can't love him. If you say you love me and you constantly box me and I say it's hurting me, don't box me and you constantly do it. And you may say it's a habit, but I don't see any reduction. It increases. It therefore means you don't really love me and respect me. Because at no point you said, no, it comes back to me. She said she doesn't like it. Do not verbally thrash. Do not verbally abuse. Do not tell other parents bad things about their children and begin to describe them, because you are going to pay the consequences, and your children and your children's children as well. The sin upon the third and fourth generation, and you're not going to like it. It is as though it's a waste of lives. Your life was wasted to be here on earth, and their lives were wasted to be here on earth. That is how it is going to come across. Don't do it. I'm encouraging you. A word to the wise is sufficient unto the day. Guys, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel. We need a lion now. No.